All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to the Garden Club. We have a really great crowd here in person, and we have a few people on Zoom as well. So very happy to have you here. And this is Combined Circles Flower Power featuring Jan Sillik, our very own Jan Sillik. We're so proud to have her here. My name is Denise Reagan. I'm the Executive Director of the Garden Club of Jacksonville. And with me virtually is Daniel Stark, who is handling Zoom from home right now. So thanks for being there, Daniel. And I'd like to thank the Jessie Ball DuPont Fund for being a magnificent sponsor of programs like this. Their grant helps us provide hybrid programs just like this one. I'd also like to thank Connie Long, our Combined Circles chair. Hi, Connie, in the back, for bringing great programs like this one to us. And without much ado, I want to bring up Cindy Reynolds to talk about Blooms Galore and more. Cindy?
Good morning. I'm here to talk to you today about Blooms Galore and more, specifically the sprout sale. Linda Irwin is our fearless leader, and she's running the whole Blooms Galore, but Susan Painter and I from the Ortega Forest Circle are handling the sprout sale. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that and the overall program. We are encouraging each circle to donate 3 plants per member for the sprout sale, supporting the garden club. It's just a nice guideline. And you can propagate your own. Boy, you should see the dog run in the back of my garage. It looks like a nursery, which is so much fun. Plants should be in a pot with dirt and in good condition at the time of drop-off. Please label plants with the common name if possible, and a picture is very helpful. We have one circle, and I'm not sure which one it is, but the plants they drop off have laminated bloom pictures and the name of the plant. And it is such a helpful thing for anybody who is buying that plant. And especially if you drop off any bulbs, crinums, or those kind of things, it's really helpful to have a picture. And the first plant drop-off is Wednesday, April 6th, from 9 to 6, and the second is Thursday, the 7th, from 9 to 6. So we'll be there both days organizing and getting things together. We do ask that you avoid invasive plants like Mexican petunias or sword ferns, asparagus ferns, elephant ears, those kind of things that we're really trying not to spread. And then the preview party is Friday, April the 8th from 5 to 8. And so you get first pick for the plants, and also a wonderful party, live music, and a container competition. So it's a nice little friendly competition. And how many do we have? 14?
16.
16, wow. So 16 containers, they're 18 inches. And you will get to, it is going to be decided by popular vote. So you'll have a chance to look at all of the containers and pick the one that you think deserves to win. And then they're going to be auctioned off. So that's even more exciting. So we do ask also if you can volunteer. We need your help during plant drop-off on April the 6th and 7th. And then again for the preview party and for Blooms on Saturday. And Blooms does run from 9 to 3 on Saturday. For those circles that I visited, you've heard the story before, but I did want to leave you with a very touching story. So my son-in-law's mother unfortunately left us on February the 9th, 94 years old, a beautiful woman, quintessential Southern woman, very genteel and soft-spoken, always had her purse and her pumps matched, and carried her purse over her arm like Queen Elizabeth. And so you can see her going to church or walking down the street. And we had a chance to celebrate her on February the 12th. And my husband Perry and I had the opportunity to sit with the family and with the minister the night before the service and hear stories about Jean. that we didn't know, because we've only known her since she has been in our family since Lisa and Jamie have been married. But anyway, a very funny story came out, and the timing couldn't have been more perfect. So Julie, Jean's daughter, told this very funny story about when she used to run errands when she was a little girl with her mother, or when she was being walked to and from school, you know, with her mother with her purse over her arm and her matching pumps, that if Jean, who was a very beautiful gardener, if Jean saw a plant in the yard, or when she was just riding by or anything, she would trot on up, whip clippers out of her purse, and clip a piece off of one of these bushes. And of course, Julie was absolutely embarrassed and said that it was just that she was multiply or embarrassed on multiple occasions by her very proper mother with her very proper purse, you know, walking up into somebody's yard and clipping off a piece of a bush. So, and enough to propagate. And then, of course, the clipped piece and the clippers would go right back into the purse, and off they'd go down the street. So anyway, I heard that story, and being the Sprouts chair, I just thought I'd have to share this, because I just think that lovely Jean speaks to the gardener in all of us. So happy propagating, and hope to see you at Blooms on April the 9th. Any questions? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Cindy. Okay, so the main attraction is almost here. Thank you. Jan Sillik is the president of the Wildflower Garden Circle. She is a former president of the Florida Federation of Garden Clubs and a life member of the National Garden Clubs, FFGC, and Deep South Garden Clubs. She serves on the FFGC's Advisory Council, the Long Range Planning Committee, and as an instructor for the FFGC program series, Floral Design Study. An accredited Master Flower Show judge, she is the founder of the Fun with Flowers program, which she originated at the Garden Club of Jacksonville and continues to run throughout FFGC. Her designs have been featured in the Florida Arrangement Calendar numerous times, and Sillik has exhibited designs at the EPCOT Flower and Garden Festival. I really wish I could have seen that. Previously, she has served in numerous roles, including the NGC Board of Directors, editor and founder of Deep South Matters newsletter, editor of the Creative Flower Arrangers of America's magazine, Design Dimensions, and nearly every leadership role at the Garden Club of Jacksonville. Please welcome Jan Sillik.
Gosh, I think I better go lie down. I'm tired now. I forgot I did all that. I mean, it's true. It's true. Anyway, and I've made a kind of a display back here of just a couple of things. Some of our calendars, our state calendars. How many of you actually own one of our Florida Federation calendars? Anybody? Okay, well, that's one of the places that you'll learn more about creative design. I feel like I'm peeking at y'all, and I'm so short I can look through that little bottom one. When Connie asked me to speak, she wanted me to talk about traditional design and creative design. And they are totally different animals, aren't they? And creative is a kind of a misnomer because everything we do is creative, isn't it? And I don't want to move this over too far because I won't be able to work on it. But anyway, because can y'all see with the mirror? Is the mirror working okay? All right. So anyway, everything's creative. So that's a bit of a misnomer. So we don't exactly call it that anymore, but it's an entirely different school of design. And the thing I love about doing creative or contemporary or abstract, or one of the many words we want to use, is all the fun things you can do. This is out of my toaster oven, this little thing right here. You know, and it's amazing what these are loofahs. You know, those loofahs that you bathe with? And I cut them and I turn them sideways and I put them on sticks and I painted them black. And so they're pretty cool, aren't they? I mean, when you just look around you everywhere in your yard, at the auto salvage, Pep Boys is a good place. Every salvage store, every thrift market, every trash pile out in somebody else's yard, you know, is a source of wonderful, cool stuff. Now, yesterday, Rosemary and I were in DK's shopping. Somehow I got myself in a real pickle. I'm doing a wedding, helping my hairdresser with a wedding at the end of this week on Saturday. And it's a boho wedding. Anybody ever heard of that? I didn't think so. I never had either. And it's kind of like a shabby chic. It stands for bohemian. I don't know anything about gypsies or bohemian or something. I don't know. But it's a totally different thing. And poor Rosemary. Oh, let me introduce Rosemary, my friend. I'll tell you a joke. We did a program not too long ago out at Reebok. We've done many all over the place. And she is my Vanna White. And I've got a couple of other helpers too. But anyway, I called out there and they said, was she staying for lunch? And I said, yes. And so they're going to make a name tag for her. And I said, her name is Rosemary Longnecker, you know, like the giraffe. So we got out there. They had a big, nice name tag and it said Rosemary Giraffe. So ever since then, I think of her as Rosemary. So this is Rosemary Giraffe, ladies. And she's my helper. And today, Catherine Ryman is my helper, Lauren Baxter is my helper, and Deb Bird. Takes a village to do these things. Just to unpack the car takes a while. So I'm appreciative with anybody, and I'm so proud of Lauren. Lauren is the really first student studying to be a flower show judge. She and Debbie, who's in Floridian, are the first that have studied it to get to have that certification with national since me. And think about how long ago that was. I mean, I've been a master judge for years and years and years, like 30 years or something. And here, we've not ever, Garden Club Jacksonville, been able to have anybody that would go through that program and take the reading test and go out and do the flower show judging and everything so you get your credentials. It used to take us about 10 years, and now it only takes about 7, Lauren. They kind of made it a little easier because, golly, I thought, am I going to live this long? I mean, it seemed so long back then, but it's a little easier now. But 7 years is a long time. So when we haven't had a flower show here in a while, but I am hoping sincerely that y'all will have the interest and that we will be able to go back to doing flower shows now that the virus has gone past us. And I've had my little divorce, and so that's over with. And I don't know if you all know, but after 40 years, my husband left me in for another woman. It's like a country and westerns. It's like Hank Williams or Dolly Parton. It's kind of like Dolly Parton's song. But anyway, so now I'm divorced, and there's some good things that I can make junk all over the house with floral design stuff. I can eat popcorn for supper. I don't have to fix supper. There's lots of, there's a good upsides to it too, y'all. There's plenty of crying and plenty of hurt, but there's plenty of good too. So that's enough of that, right? Okay. Now, the other one sad thing I will tell you is that my little family, I have a son, a daughter-in-law, 3 grandchildren. Some of y'all have met them. They have just gone to Germany. They've been over there 2 months because he's in the Army there on the Army base. He's a civil service, but they couldn't have been at a worse time. And so I'm a little bit nervous about all this stuff that's going on over there in that part of the world. So just keep them in your prayers because, you know, it's not a good place to be right now. But anyway, the funnest thing that we do to me is creative and then traditional too. So today we're going to raffle off 2 traditional designs, and we're going to raffle off this container for somebody. So I hope you got your tickets. Be sure you get your tickets from Connie, because this was donated by Brooke Owens, and it's a cool container, don't y'all think? And she's giving the wood too. I love decorative wood. We used to call it driftwood. Now we call it decorative wood. It just sounds, I don't know, a little nicer. It's like we used to call little bitty things in flowers, traditional arrangements, little fine things. We called them filler, and now we call them transitional. And so I always say that just makes you have to pay a little more for it, I think. It's what that does. But anyway, so we were yesterday in DK, and look at these pretty things I got. Little saw palmetto. There was an article in the paper this week about saw palmetto. Did y'all read that? I didn't quite understand it. Is saw palmetto endangered or something? Who knows? Does anybody know what's going on with saw palmetto? Okay, she's just taking pictures of my behind for some reason. She knows what she's doing, I'm sure. But I got some gorgeous Gerberas. Now, Rosemary had to wire these. You know, the gerberas will wobble around and droop and do everything. So if you're really going to count on having them that you can control them, she just stood here this morning for me, and she wired 2 of them, and we can pass those around. I don't ever know what y'all have seen and not seen. We have a tremendously advanced group here in Jacksonville, because you're the first ones that ever had fun with flowers, because this is where it started. And all these years we've had it, and it's one of the things we've gotten the most new members from, and we have the most interest. It just keeps on going like the Energizer Bunny. So I know that you've seen fabulous designers. You may know everything I'm going to tell you today. I hope not. And I hope if this will be like friendly and informal. So if there's a question y'all have, I didn't explain something properly, or there's something you've been wondering about, please raise your hand and ask me. Feel comfortable to do that. Yes, ma'am. Yes. You need to go up through here, go in the side with your wire, and make a little hook, and then draw it back down. Yes, ma'am. Yes, please do. Please do that. Either one. One on one side, one on the other, maybe. How about that? And if you're going to use them in short, you're okay, you know, with a short stem. And hey, Patsy, I haven't seen some of y'all in 3 years. I'm tickled to be here. But anyway, and I'm tickled to see everybody doing well. Golly, Moses, hasn't it been a hard, that virus, you know, thing, what's it called? Pandemic. I was going to say pan virus. That didn't sound right. But I mean, every generation, I guess, has to have something terrible, like a depression or something. But we have certainly had one of the worst ever, I think, and it's been very hard. And I've missed my garden club. I've missed you people. So I'm thrilled to be here. But anyway, you take a thin wire and you go up through that middle and come back down. Make a hook and come back, pull it back down. And then you just loosely go through. Rosemary, why don't you show them that? Just be doing one as I'm talking. Where did we, you see where the wire is right back here? I think they should see it done. That's the best way I learn. Aren't y'all that way? Don't just tell me, show me. And it's back here in my little thing.
Straight is a thicker wire, and I felt like it was a little hard to work with, so I chose a thinner wire the next time. But it just kind of depends on what you want your flower to do. But basically, after you make your hook and pull it through, then you just twist it all the way down. Yeah, on the outside of the stem.
Which one do you want me to do first?
No, right here. Just start the wire right at the base.
Okay, I can go ahead and
pull it through, make a little tiny hook, and pull it back down. You can't even see it in the top. No, just down to about there. Whatever you want. So,
and if you will use this color of floral tape, and I know you all are pros and you know about floral tape, this matches the color of the stem. And if you're carefully neat how you do it, you can't even tell it's on there. And Rosemary and I do church flowers, our altar flowers at church and for any kind of social event they have. And okay, here she goes. And anyway, we do church flowers. They're separate, so you'll have to hold it separate.
all of this has been taught to me by her or Fun with Flowers. Yeah. And so then pull it back down so it's not visible anymore. And then you just, holding it carefully, begin to twist it. Just twist it all the way down. And of course, if you don't have such a long one, you don't have to use such long wire. So, depends on how much you want. And also the gauge of the wire.
Now, did you all remember that the larger the number, the smaller the wire? It's the opposite of what you would think. So a 24 gauge wire is real thin. An 18 gauge is fatter. It's just the opposite of what you would think. So if you're out somewhere and you're looking for wire, you know, at Joann's or wherever you go, Hobby Lobby, whatever, just remember that the smaller the number, the fatter the wire. And what's interesting to me, those gauges are international. My ex-husband was a master electrician, and the wire that he works with has the same gauges. The gauge numbers go for electrical wire. If you're in, you know, Saigon, or if you're in America, those gauges are international. I think that's interesting. Yes, ma'am. If you pull it down carefully, it doesn't show. Can you see it very badly? Okay, let's see that one. I can't really see it in this one. She didn't pull, She doesn't get a blue ribbon for that one.
Yeah, something Jan reminded me yesterday when I was doing something, whatever we were doing at the moment, was stretch this page as you go, you know, and that helps it to adhere to the stem.
Those are little things. It surprises me sometimes when I teach what people don't know. I mean, they're just little things, but they're important. And you pull it a little and it sticks together better. And that's what you do. Let me see that one. We could probably just pull it a little farther down, Kathy. Thank you for telling me that. You can see it just a tiny little bit, y'all. But anyway, if you pull it carefully down, it goes, you don't see it, you know. And who in the world's going, I mean, even a judge, you know, when we judge flower shows, we have to be 2 feet back. Did y'all realize that? It's the truth. It is the truth. You know, sometimes I ask people, do you want to learn to make bows? And that always amazes me, how many people want to learn to make bows. Couldn't be any more basic than that. So, Rosemary, if you step down there and show them, I'll go ahead on about with my script. How about that? Okay, Ladybug, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, all right. Let's talk about making the arrangement. Have a mental plan. Gather and condition your flowers and foliages. When you buy your flowers at Publix, for heaven's sakes, use that little bag of flower food. Do y'all all do that? Good, because that's important. There again, that's a basic ABC kind of thing. Decide on your container. Decide on mechanics. Mechanics are what we call the things that make all of what we do work. Whether it's what I use for making my sticks like this, or my stems, however you want to call them, is bamboo skewers from Publix. Have y'all seen the designers do that? The bamboo skewers from Publix, and they work great for when you're going to make your stem either fatter or longer. Now, have they told you that these are wonderful. These are cable ties that electricians use. And there's so many things you get. I love the hardware store. Practically one of my just all-time favorite places is the hardware store. And as I said, the Pet Boys and all of those kind of places. So you want to start with your main lines, and line and creative design is so important. Let me get, Rosemary, hand me that list right there. The elements and on the plastic thing. Yes. Yes. Okay. This is the P's and E's, I call it, the principles and elements of design. Do the designers teach you this? Y'all say no or yes? I can't tell. Okay. Well, the principles of design are like the recipe, and the elements are like what goes in, what the ingredients are and what you're making. So my friend Lily that I met down here years ago, and she was an old-time judge, and she said the principles are be darn careful riding past schools. And so that's balance, dominance, contrast, rhythm, proportion, and scale. And I'll bet y'all understand what every one of those are. They just self-evident, aren't they? And they're in every kind of art form. I don't care if you're drawing the ceiling in, Michelangelo, the Sistine Chapel. They're still going to have balance and rhythm, and contrast and dominance and scale. Scale means size relationships. And it's a simple thing again, but I see people that don't use that properly, and proportion is amount and scale is size. And contrast, we love contrast. I love texture. That's what, in color. Those we get into elements. For some reason, in the elements, they did not give us repetition, which is important in design, and they did not give us depth. And I have judged many shows and many designs and had to take off because they didn't have depth. They were flat. And so it's great fun to do depth. When I do this design, which I love, right here with the wood, put that where they can see it. How about on the corner right here? And then pretty soon I'll do some actual work. Because y'all rather see me do something than talk, I'm quite sure. But I love the metal containers. Don't y'all enjoy those kind of things? They're so versatile. You can use them front to back. You can lay them on their side. There's a little dust ball, so that doesn't count. That was texture, sorry. I did that on purpose. I actually did that on purpose. So, but anyway, and that piece of wood is from some kind of really nice grapevine, probably from California, you know, where the Napa Valley and all that, because that's a limb from a real fancy grapevine. Isn't it pretty? Now, what would you say is one of the most important things in this design? Line. So by putting that, and I don't have any mechanics, that piece of wood just hangs in there. Isn't that good? And I can go around there now, and I can do it front to back or back to front. Turn it around for me just a little bit. Maybe I can come around here. I've seen designers get on the edge of the stage and do this, and I'm thinking, oh, God, they're going to fall off. No, I think I'm going to see what this is like here. The mirror is kind of makes it a little harder. But now this I made at home with my sago. We're so blessed in Florida. We have so many kinds of things, and palmetto and all of that, like these pink ones I just showed you, right? And we can color things, we can shape them, and I just shaped all this so I could have that. Well, look at, this is decorative wood, this is a metal thing, and this is sago. And take a piece of it and go with some wire and come back and pull it together. And so it's like that, and then it'll dry that way. Leave it overnight, a couple of nights, and then paint it. I've still left some of the wire in there to show y'all kind of how I did it. But little thin wire like Rosemary had. I'm not on camera. Oh, golly. Oh, gee. God, I told y'all this is my first Zoom thing. I've only done Zoom a time or two, and the circle presidents do it. And Denise knows I'm not real up on that either. So now we can also put this thing in. But see, we've got so much to work with here. But what I was thinking using on this was my protea. Because I have this black in here. Can y'all see me if I come around here? Can the camera ever see me? Never? Okay, okay. Well, I know that's important. I want to be on camera for Pete's sakes. I mean, gosh. But you know, I watched something last night that was so fun. Okay, just shove those under there so I can get to them. And it was Lucille and Desi Arnaz. You know, remember them? And it was their story. It wasn't the one that Nicole Kidman plays in. It was the actual, it was like a memoir of the two of them. Okay. Now, I want to go back here and get some depth. So I might put this in here. I'd like to come up in here and get something that's tall. I can't reach real well right this minute, so I may or may not do that. I'll have to decide. But I've been trying to do everything for this wedding and this boho, remember wedding, back to the wedding. And oh my goodness, it's a lot. So somehow that came up to be the same week. And that's kind of hard, or very hard actually. When y'all have your programs down here, do you sometimes, these are too high for the mirrors is the problem, isn't it? Can't really get to it, and I'd like to have something up there. I know it, honey. Next time, let's rehearse. I was tickled that Connie invited me because, as I say, I haven't done a program, but this is better. I can get in here to it and I can sort of see what I'm doing. Okay, see where I want to put that. Believe me, there's a way to do whatever it is that you want to do. You just have to deal with it. Okay, I'd like to have one up there. So I think I'm going to tie it together with one of my little black things. Yep. Thank goodness for tall people. Okay, when I put this here, you just put that around that little. Yep. Perfect. Don't y'all like it? Is that a good place? And these are brand new. I haven't played with these yet. Okay, do it as tight as you can. It's so fun when you get new toys. Okay, how does that look, guys? Y'all like it? Okay, do I get a blue ribbon? Yes, please do. Okay, do I have one more of my, let's see. Y'all are too quiet now. Y'all need to laugh, and I want you to have a good time. Either that or I'll start telling my jokes. Now, that wasn't nice. I have good jokes. Okay, I want one of these down real low, so I'm going to cut him off. I do have somebody. I was out at somewhere lately, and out at the beach at Rebald or something, and somebody said, "Oh, I just love your 2X joke." Sometimes people remember things for years that you really didn't think they would and didn't necessarily want them to. But anyway, when my daughter-in-law first came to America, we went shopping in St. Augustine. She's thin and she looks like a model. She's from Russia. Make it even more complicated. Oh, I like that. Yes. I've got greenery, y'all. Well, I forgot about my greenery. All I have to do up there is put a little something that's green. Let me reach and get it, and I probably can just, let's see, what do I want? See if I put some kind of little piece of greenery up there and one at the bottom. I don't want to use my big ones yet. But one of the things about creative, just lay that up there where, stick it in through the little black thing. Yeah, like that. She's good. I might have to give her a blue ribbon here. Isn't it sort of staying there? Okay. And now, Denise, let's put one right here. See? One of the good things, you don't have to have as many materials as you do when you do, traditional. But anyway, so my daughter-in-law, we went shopping down in St. Augustine Outlet Mall. And she's so little. We went in the first store, and see, I like that coming there and down. Anyway, they said, we don't even have any size 2 or a 2. We don't even have any size 2s. And I said, I didn't even have a 2 when I was in 10th grade or 5th grade or anything. But anyway, so later on, we were at the where they have the manatees down in Bradenton County. And there was a big manatee and a little manatee up on the sign. I'm not on camera again. Hello, camera. And so anyway, Susie Valentine was there. We had a bunch of garden club ladies, and she laughed and she started pointing up there. And I had told them about us shopping, and I said, she wore a 2 and I wore a 2X. So Susie was looking up there, and she said, 2 and 2X. That was the big manatee and the little manatee, So people still remember that I said that, I said, well, mine has an X after it, but we both wear a size 2. That's the thing you have to remember. So anyway, how's that look, guys? Okay, if there's any way to put that down, I'd like it to get a picture, but is there a way to take it down and put it somewhere? We've got, now, these are just little sticks. We could get some line with this, see? And another thing, if we want to get something to have water, we can do that. We can get little water picks. We can get this wet foam. We can use these needle points. There's always a way. Don't be discouraged ever when you're going to want to do a creative design, because there's a way to do it, believe me. And don't y'all be confused with wet foam and dry foam. I've actually had people put fresh material in a dry foam. It's not going to be able to drink anything, is it? No way, Jose. So don't be confused with that. We're going to raffle that one, so I'll just leave that over there right now. Okay. I love using these. See how that worked for us, that little thing, cable tie? So definitely do that. We'll do that blue one in a minute, but let's do a traditional now so we can talk about that. This is a floral cage. Yes, I am okay with it back here. It actually works better for me, I think, Denise. I'll have to practice on how to be on the camera, because that's new. Okay, I need to get wet with this. Okay. We're going to raffle these two traditionals. So somebody will get that nice little candlestick. Okay. Now, this is something you can hang it on the door. Or have y'all seen people work with these? I just love them. Or you can put it on your table for centerpiece, or however you want to do it. I've got some beautiful flowers here from Publix. And don't be afraid to go in public. Look at the hydrangea. Oh my gosh. That blue would be pretty with my blue thing, wherever it is. On the table. See the blue? Oh my gosh. I get so excited. I just tell you the truth. This would be, doing floral design is the most blessing that I have one of the most in my life. Okay. We'll start with our sword fern. Don't be discouraged in your yard if you think things have died, because they're coming back. Don't worry about that. Okay. Now, I'm going to put a long one in right here. And the first one thing it does is it hides my little handle. And I love these for parties, you know, when you can put them on the table and let them run down the table. You can put them on the door. You can put them on the mantle at Christmas. And I want to come out each side, and I don't want it to be as wide as I do tall. That makes sense? There's a little balance thing to that works better. They're going to have our convention down in Kissimmee again, if anybody wants to get a carload and go down to the Florida Federation convention. Does anyone in here remember Marion Hilliard? They just had a celebration of life for her out at the that cemetery for the veterans, National Cemetery. And we went out there. And it was a lovely, lovely day. We took a wrong turn coming out of there. Brooke drove, because I don't know where I'm at. When I get on that part of town, I'm lost. And so we took a wrong turn, and we went all the way to Ferndina, but that was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. I got to see the cruise ship that was going somewhere that was over there in Dames Point, you know. I've never even been in the Dames Point thing that much, but that was really fun. I just went over the Dames Point Bridge. I went by the zoo. I'm telling you, it was fun. Yes, sir. Then we went and had happy hour. Yeah, but I can't drink anything, so that didn't work too well. The medicines I take, I can't drink Chardonnay anymore. So, oh well. I did enjoy Chardonnay, but that's all right. Okay, now when you're cutting your stems, you should cut them on an angle. Did they tell you that? Y'all are good. I don't know if y'all need to teach me next time. Teach me what you know. I love these roses and the pinks. If you can, the colors we're using in that wedding that I told you about are burgundy and navy. Does that seem like bride colors? I guess it's the boho thing, you know? Now, when I put something on one side, I'm also putting it on the other side. So I'm going to have a symmetry. And that's what I want on this particular design. You don't always want symmetry, but I do this time. Okay, and I can use a couple more of these because I've got plenty of them. That was a bunch, and I think about a dozen came in that bunch. I'm not wiring these because I'm going in close, short stems with them. Lauren, would you recommend people to take the judges? Have you learned a lot and had a great time and met neat people?
Is half of a show. So it is all about our yards and what we grow and etc. And I don't know why I'm still shocked by that. I think I failed the first test. That's why. I said, I don't have to study horticulture. Wrong. Anyway, but I love it. I'm really enjoying it.
And it's not scary, is it? I mean, to study and take the tests and everything, it's not really scary. I think people are afraid of taking tests, but they're mentor. Everyone will help you. The judges will. Have y'all had Claudia Bates come up and teach? She's one of the judges that, in fact, she just called me recently. She was going through Jacksonville, she said, and she wanted to touch base with me. She'd been to Kentucky teaching. When I was younger and just loved Garden Club, as I still do, and they wanted me to study to be to be the teacher of the judges, and I was already a judge, and but then they also wanted me to go up and be, you know, president, state president. I didn't think I could do both of those at one time. That sounded like a little bit much to me. So instead of learning to be that judge thing, I went ahead up and went up the ladder, they call it. So you go third vice president, second vice president, first vice president, and then you're finally our president. So that was the route I took. But she is, I'm sure, a wonderful judge because she was a teacher in Gainesville. She taught in school, and I don't know what age group, but I think she taught kindergarten. I'm not kindergarten, but elementary. Okay, now I'm putting things up top and down below. And you know, it is spring. It's a wonderful time to get out. These colors were just all together in a bunch at Publix, but here's how we're doing it. Yes. Nope, I'm going to tuck in my greens. I'll start doing it a little bit now, but I don't green first. Some do it one way and some do it another way. But I am going to show you one little tip that I love, and I hope they show you this because I think it's very important. I like to cut my end piece off, and then I have a nice one like that. And then as I go down the stem, I cut it like this, so I have opposite little flange things. And that's my absolute favorite way to have these. Then when I put these down into the foam, it just comes out great. It gives you the nicest look with those on the opposite sides. See, like this is the way when you then use them from then on, you get this look. And don't y'all like that? Now I'm putting some peonies. I love peonies, and you hardly don't even get them. I mean, you have to order them sometimes, and it costs pretty good bit. They're not cheap, but they had them yesterday at that place, and I couldn't resist. So whoever gets this is going to have some peonies. Aren't they lovely? Oh, my goodness. Sandy Carter that used to go here, when her son got married, they ordered bushels of these, just bushels. And it's one of the most beautiful weddings I've ever seen. I don't know what in the world it cost them, but it was not cheap. But, you know, some things are worth it, aren't they? And flowers are. We should have flowers in our home every week because we can. We live in Florida, after all. We have some kind of greenery all year round. Just step in the yard. And then, you know, when the people come from up north, I didn't say Yankee, I just said up north. When they come down here, they are thrilled with the things we have. They love our palmetto. They'll just about pay anything for a piece of palmetto down at, you know, at SIFA where we have our meetings and we sell things, you know. Now I'm starting to add my greenery. I just start out and make kind of a skeleton with my greenery, but I'm going to start adding it in now. It's not the easiest thing in the world to work and talk at the same time. Have y'all ever tried it? I used to be better at it, I think. I've never had a whole lot of trouble talking, but talking and working, that's another story. But anyway, as long as y'all are having fun, I'm having fun. Okay. Okay. Ouch. But poor Rosemary and I, we've worked so hard on this wedding. They have 6 grandmothers. I don't even know how that. I don't even know if I want to know. How do you get 6? Anyway, we've had to make all those boutonnieres and corsages and, oh my gosh, all that stuff. And our poor hands are just hardly don't work anymore. Rosemary said, my hands are so sore. I said, I know what you mean. Because we both have a little bit of arthritis, so that's not the best thing. What, this? We're making some in silk. And I didn't like that idea, but that's what we're having to do, you know, because I know I can't make that many things the day of. You know, there's 4 bridesmaids, 4 groomsmen, the daddy, the mama, the 2 mamas, the 6 grandmothers. You know, I mean, and they're going to have it at Boone Park. If y'all want to see a real elaborate thing, ride by Boone Park about 4:30 on Saturday afternoon. Oh, look around. It's going to be a doozy. I am not kidding you. Bless their hearts. And, you know, I told Rosemary, I'm going to cut their Pinterest off because she's been on Pinterest for a year. She's got 300 pictures of everything on Pinterest that she loves. And now she's the expert. We were at that place yesterday. This is the little bride, you know, bless her heart, bless her heart. Remember in the South, you can say bad thing about anybody as long as you say bless her heart. So I said bless her heart. Did y'all hear that? Okay. Anyway, I said to her, now that's a pretty color. It was kind of a navy blue. She said, that's purple. I thought, okay. She tells me what's what, you know, and knows more than me. So it hasn't been the easiest thing I've ever done to keep my mouth shut, you know. Bless her heart. But she's seen all these pictures and she wants it just exactly like that picture. And that's it. Honey, we are doing mason jars with fairy lights in them with candle rings. We are doing cups, teacups stacked up, and some plain with flowers in them. And that's going to be up and down one table. There is, oh gosh, Rosemary, what all are we doing? We got so many things, I can't even keep it straight. Oh, glass vases, they're going to go up and down the aisle and have pampas grass in them. Have y'all ever seen a wedding with pampas grass in it? You did? Well, I don't think I ever did before in my whole life. But they were going to pay, you know, they went somewhere and it was going to be $13 a stem. And I said, good grief, it grows on every ditch bank in Jacksonville. Just get out there and don't get shot or anything or arrested, you know. But go out and get you some and dry it. I said, hang it up and down in the garage for, you know, a month and then spray it with cheap hairspray. And they did, and they added up the amount. It was $13 a stem somewhere. $13 a stem for a piece of pampas grass. So anyway, they got all that, and they said, Miss Jan, you saved us $3,000. I said, okay, I like that, the sound of that. All right, now we can go back and tuck in a little bit more greenery, a little bit more whatever. I don't want to go so much over time. But now that says spring for somebody's door. Now I want you to, this is an ODAP. You want to pass it around and put it somewhere. Okay. And then I can go back with this and add a little more. Show them the leather leaf out of my yard. That's just out of my yard, people. And I thought I had a paper towel, but I guess Alex brought me a paper towel, didn't he? But I need another one, Denise, I guess. Okay. I think that says spring. All it needs is a little bunny in there or something like that, doesn't it? And this came with it, with that batch of flowers. It says it's Happy International Women's Day. And it says we are passionate, courageous, phenomenal, empowered, unique, beautiful, and independent. So that's what we are as women. So that's what that bouquet is. Okay. Now, if somebody can win this from Brooke, then they can go home and practice doing creative there. And then I want you to go to the scrapyard and Pep Boys and all those places and get some cool stuff. Like I always save this when it comes in and kind of Amazon thing. This is a really cool thing to do a design with. And you can paint it really nicely. Takes the color real pretty. You can stand it, because abstract is geometric shapes a lot. Don't you think? Irene is president of our Rangers Guild. She would agree with me, I think, that abstract is very much to do with geometric shapes. And so you can think of all the things. Just think around your house that you've got. Like that silver thing out of my stove, what do you call that thing? Baker broiler thing on top. They've got so many new things. I don't know. What are these air fryer things? Anybody know about that? Anyway, this is my book that I created called Fun with Flowers. And it's a manual. Do we have them in the office? It is, I took all these. We bought about $150 worth of flowers. We went down to headquarters. We got in the library. We set up some backgrounds. We made designs all day long and took pictures of them. And this is a pretty good while back when we made this. But let me tell you, in the front of this book, there's a lot of good little tips. So if anybody ever wants to make copies out of here or let's set one up and make it for you to buy, you really can learn a lot if you're interested in, doing this. Now, these are easy steps to flower arranging. Does everybody know how to work with Oasis? Do y'all like Oasis? Just drop it in your water, leave it there till it floats. Don't force it down. If you turn it upside down where the little holes are, it will, fill the water better. And I always leave a little bit over the rim so I can come down, right? Okay. And I like to do it standing up. You can place the darkest and largest flowers closer in that gives you balance, volume. You work from the base up or the top down, whichever you prefer. I start with church flowers doing the tallest thing because you're doing a skeleton. Then if you do your sides, your little exit pieces like that, you're building your skeleton. And then you can go back. Now, I think it's a personal thing whether you start with greenery or flowers. You can go either way. And I like to do my flowers and then tuck in my greeneries mainly. So, but it's not, you can do whatever makes you comfortable. Okay, and outward from a traditional is usually the lightest colors and the lightest material and the smallest. That's the way things grow, don't they? Think about it. Their buds are out to the edge. So we're just doing what nature does. Okay. Now there's some tips on how to make cut flowers last, and I've got some of that in here. The 3 types of plant material, this is important. Form flowers, round, they're very powerful. That's carnations, gerberas, like we have our pink gerberas, mums, roses, lilies. Those are the focal area. They're going to be in the center, lower down. We're not talking about creative now. We're talking about traditional. And then you have spikes. That's liatris. I don't know if I even really have any spikes today, but we were looking for spikes yesterday, weren't we, Rosemary? And that's, stock and delphinium and liatris, and it's just what it sounds like. It's a spike. And so gladiola is one, and there's lots of greenery that's spiked. Sansevieria, mother-in-law's tongue, aspidistra, and that helps you form that skeleton. And all your branches and willow, you know, like I've got right down here, the black and the silver. And then the wispier things, which is transitional. Remember we talked about that? And there's lots of those. So when you're buying your material, you want to think about that. Now, real quickly, before I forget to tell you, if you don't have Oasis, we made these one time in a class I went to at FCCJ over there at Kent campus. And we made them, and you can lay that on top of your vase, and then you can put your flowers in there, and it controls them. And it doesn't have to be this big, but once you get your material on top, you don't see that. And has anybody taught you about making a grid with Scotch tape? So y'all know how to do that. I don't like just drop-ins much. I mean, I see everybody at Publix and they've got all these flowers. I know they just go home and go plunk. And I don't know, that doesn't do a lot for me. Although Rosemary and I are going to make the things for the, well, we're going to have the holders with Oasis for the bridesmaids, but we're going to make a throwaway thing, and we're just going to make a hand-tied bouquet. So that's what we're going to do with that. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, let's do, now this is tree fern. Does anybody have tree fern in their yard? No? It's fluffy and pretty. It's just, I don't know where, you know, garden club ladies have always been giving me things all these years. And so I have things that I say, does anybody have? And they don't. A lady gave me a tapioca tree not long ago. It's in a pot. And I never heard of it. But these are called tree fern. Now, this, I love this container. It's a candlestick. See, that's just what I always do. I start with my greenery. No, I don't. I start with my flowers. I told a lie. But I start with my greenery to the point where I'm going to make that skeleton, okay? And I'm going to know how far out I'm going to go, how tall I'm going to go. I'm going to come toward myself or away, you know, sideways, whatever, and see how tall I want to go. I've got beautiful, has anybody got spiral ginger? Don't you love it? Gosh, Deb, did somebody give you a start of it? How'd you get yours? Did you? That's cool stuff, y'all. When we did a flower show at the Hampton, Mr. Hampton's home, I had spiral ginger in that, and people were always asking me about it because you don't see it a lot. But it really does go like this as it grows. It's really cool, y'all. When we have the next time we have a flower show, and I feel sure we will, eventually, we need to bring these exotic things that we have in our yards. Don't you think? Okay. Am I keeping y'all too long? You're supposed to be hanging on my every word, you know. Okay. Okay. Well, I have an offer to go to lunch, so that's exciting. Miss Debbie is going to take us to lunch. Now, did y'all get your tickets already for your raffles? Okay. I didn't get, oh, this is my one that she wrapped. So we can get some height out of that one. Is that pretty? We wouldn't be able to use it unless she'd wrapped it. We can use the other ones close in. But I'm going to come down about a third of the way and come with this one. So I'll probably make it so it's not going all the way around. That's one of the first things you think about with traditional. Is it going to be on a table where you're going to see it all the way around, or is it going to be flat? What are you going to do with your height and everything, and what kind of wallpaper are you looking at, you know, that you're going to use? I wouldn't say that. It's kind of left to the arranger unless you're unless you are in front of a background, and then you definitely have to know what your dimensions are. The schedules, sometimes I've done classes where I brought a lot of schedules and laid them on a table, y'all, so you could see that's really fun. Like if they're going to say, this class is all about Halloween, and so you're going to start thinking about black and spider webby and thing. You're going to try to interpret whatever your theme is. And that's the funnest thing of all. I love to try to interpret themes. That's a lot of fun. But it helps you. That schedule is a lot of help. And you do need to follow it, or they'll take points off. Now, we have a new handbook. There's a lot of new things, you know, and I know Lauren's really up on it. She needs to give us a class on the new handbook, but she's probably really up. The new students are really up on everything new. And we haven't had classes that explain the new handbook since the, what do you call it, thing started, the pandemic. See how now this is traditional. I'm doing it on each side. It's not asymmetrical or kind of off the wall like it would be if it was a creative thing. Am I explaining that sort of okay? But the most fun thing about that is having all the neat things you can use. I'm serious. Yes, I would say so. Don't you think so, Lauren? We've considered an American art form, you know, the creative, and it is different. You know, a lot of things originated in Japan, and that's where they have the heaven, man, earth. And that's where they started. I've tried to teach some too that you want three. The Japanese love to think in threes. So if you're going to, oftentimes, if you're going to have something, you want three of it. It's just pleasing to the eye, and it's just something that works well, that having three of something. Okay. It might be that I didn't cut as much of my leather leaf, but I've got some. This grows so well in my yard. I was afraid a lot of it was dead. Oh, it looked terrible. All right, remember how I'm cutting that? So I have pieces like that, because that'll be the nicest thing for me. And I didn't cut as much of that tree fern. I had my next door neighbor. I called her at 7 o'clock, and I said, I don't know if you're up or not. She was. And I said, but if you'd come over and help us pack the car, I would really appreciate it. Now, what I just did there was a no-no. You're really not supposed to go in and out and make your hole larger. And y'all know that. You've heard them teach that, right? And I just kind of did that. I went in and out more than once, and I don't want to do that. It'll kind of hollow out that hole and make it, then your material won't stay in there as well. So try to go in one time. Try to cut on a slant. Try to take your leaves off from the bottom so that they're not in the water or in the oasis where the leaves are up and down your stem, because they deteriorate the fastest, and they make bacteria the fastest, you know? I love alstroemeria. Do y'all like alstroemeria? That's a pretty thing, and it's kind of less expensive, so when you get these bunches, you know, at Publix, you get a lot of that. But it looks like little orchids to me. I love it. I love it. Now, I didn't say I was fast. I just said I'd come down here and teach y'all. She didn't ask me if I was fast, did she? Anyway, I think I used to be, but not anymore. After all, I'm 78 years old, for Pete's sakes. I'm not a kid. But, you know, garden club women are so great. They hang on and stay so active and do so great. If you say that in my circle, somebody you say, well, I'm 78, they'll go, well, gosh, I'm 84. You know, like, what's your problem? They are so cute. I go, well, you know, you're an inspiration. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep going like you are. They inspire me all the time. They're
Jan,
adorable.
I read a story yesterday on the BBC that said that there are more centenarians who have the common hobby of gardening than any other hobby. So apparently, if you want to live to be 100 and beyond,
that's it.
It's important to garden.
It surely does. I mean, they are game gals, I'll tell you. They may be on walkers, but they're out there. They're so cute. I love them. They don't feel sorry for themselves. They don't moan and groan. They just keep going. And they will tell you in a heartbeat, what's your problem? Gosh, I'm in my 80s. I love it.
That greenery that you're cutting right now.
Say that again.
What is that greenery that you're holding?
It's some kind of viburnum. It came with the package that came from the from Publix. And I love these little bunches. They're getting in some real pretty bunches of things for the spring. And I do like to teach you. This is a kind of a viburnum, I would say. Is there anybody in here that's a fabulous horticulturist? Let me tell you, my dad taught agriculture in this county for 40 years. My granddaddy owned a nursery. My mother loved plants, and I come by it naturally. But floral design has always been more my thing than than horticulture. Although I've done my best to learn. I wrote one time their brochure for CFA, or maybe it was Florida Federation, but I said no green thumbs required, and that is it. If you come in here, you're coming to learn. You don't have to know it all when you come. And I think I've invited people to join the garden club sometimes over the years, and they say, well, I don't know enough about gardening. And I say, that's not the point. We're going to teach you, and so we want you to come and learn. And people like doing that. Once they know that we don't expect them to walk in the door and be fabulous, then they say, oh, well, if you're going to teach me, then I'll come. We need to really work toward the future, though, don't we all, to get the younger ones in our circles. Mine keeps trucking. They do real well at inviting new people and all that. And so they do real well. But we have a little trouble, with that. So, and we're all cognizant of it. We're all aware of it. And we know that we've got to work on that. We know the thing is we need young people, but to go forward. But, they work so much nowadays. It isn't like the days when, they didn't have to work. And so it's kind of a problem. Like we have a night circle at Moonflower, and they're adorable. I went and installed their officers one time. I have told this 100 times. I hope I haven't told it to you. But they all came roaring in right at the end, and they threw their back boxes of pizza on the table. I mean, and it wasn't fancy like we like to do it, and they all just came from work. And so this one little gal was running a little late. She finally got in her chair, and I was ready to get up and install the officers. And she said, well, I just got out of the doctor. I'm pregnant. And, I just put my head down like that, and I laughed. I said, this is a first. I've been in a lot of garden club meetings, and I have never had anybody come in the door and tell us she's pregnant the first thing. I said, that is wonderful. That was the cutest thing. I never forgot it. I said, hot dog. We got a little pregnant one here, hot dog. I love it. So that, I just couldn't believe it. I've never heard anybody come in the door and say, well, guess what? Just came from the doctor and I'm pregnant. Oh boy.
So a lot of this seems very intuitive. Like you just have like this sixth sense that's really hard to say when you're on a microphone. Sixth sense of where these go. Like, something is, obviously innate in you, but, what rules are you kind of thinking about when you're placing these items in the arrangement?
Well, for one thing, remember I said if I put one on one side, I'm putting it on the other because I want it to be symmetrical. And you don't always want to do symmetrical, but I do. And I want to fill in holes. But yet I still want it to be light and balanced. Remember that balance? And where's my paper or that thing I had on a stand? Where? Oh yeah. We didn't go through the elements. But the elements, yes. Now, the elements, my friend Lily called it, Susie likes lots of flowers. She prefers tall cannas. And that means size, line, light, form, space, pattern, texture, and color. My two favorites are texture and color. I just respond so well. And texture and color give us more of an emotional response than anything else. And maybe one of the other things is line, because we react to line. That gives us rhythm. And so these are the principles and elements of design. That's very big stuff. That's important. And so how I'm making decisions as to where I put them has to do with balance, rhythm, and having everything similar. I don't want one side. Now, if you do when we teach those classes in design, there's an L-shaped one. Obviously, that's not the same as this. So there are different ways. And so you're still working with balance and rhythm and proportion and scale and those kinds of things. So it just takes practice, and everybody can do it. Y'all have learned that with some Fun with Flowers. Rosemary, how many Fun with Flowers have you come to? Reckon. She's been coming for years.
Speaking of which, little plug, we do have a Fun with Flowers on Thursday, and there are just a couple of tickets left. So you can still come to Fun with Flowers on Thursday.
You know, the thing about that, you're actually working hands-on. You're not just watching somebody talk, and do, but you're doing it yourself, and there's no substitute for that as far as I'm concerned. Okay, guys, let me turn it around. If I had one more little piece of my fern, I would put it up here under that. But now I would picture that, on your coffee table out in your foyer or something. I did an arrangement recently in red, white, and blue for Sam Runyon. Her husband died, and they had a reception, at her home. And he was a helicopter pilot in the Navy, so I did it in red, white, and blue, and that was fun. No, most of the time you want to fill in the back. I didn't do a great job, but time is important. But you want to cover your oasis. You don't want to see little bits of oasis like I have in the back. You do want balance that's real balance as well as balance visually, because I can tell you that one time Frankie Stevens, I know some of y'all know, Betsy knows her, and bless her heart, we did a big flower show out at Deerwood or somewhere like that, or Queens Harbor. And some important man lived there that invented Venus bathing suits or had swans in the yard or something. But she did one on the bar counter, and we all went home. She came the next morning, it had fallen over. And thank God it didn't break his special marble top there. It broke her container. And so she did not have balance, actual balance as well as visual balance. So you need to think about that. That's another thing that you need to think about. So somebody's going to win that. Am I running way, way over time, honey? You're good? You sure? All right. Okay. Well, let's do that blue one, and then we'll be done, and you can win your raffle. How about that? Now, what have I not covered? There's so many fun things. We can dip, in my little book here, it says pine cone ginger. You can dip that in melted paraffin, and then it lasts a long time, and it's so pretty, that red thing. There's 100 things, y'all, I would love to show you and do with you. And, okay, let's do the blue guy here. You just melt it in a double boiler and take your, and dip it down. Hold on, get something on the end so you can hold on. Don't burn yourself, because it's going to be hot. Okay, honey, that's good. And that's just one thing. You know, I love to, at Christmas, I like to teach Williamsburg using fruits and vegetables and fresh things like branches and all of that. There's whole classes we could do using fruits and vegetables. That's one of my favorite things, is using fruits and vegetables. They're so colorful and they have so much texture and they're fun. And you just go in Publix and make sure, you know, everything's good in there. I mean, not the vegetables, no. I haven't ever tried that. Just the pine cone ginger is the main thing I know that you do that with. But they come out so pretty, and they'll last for a couple of months if they're dipped in that paraffin. And you can't tell. They look very similar, you know, too. Okay. Do y'all ever see equisetum? Y'all know what equisetum is? Okay. It's the nickname is horse's tail. I was in line one time at a buffet. It was some garden club thing. And I was telling somebody about that I had a horse's tail in my yard. And the man right behind me thought I was talking about some lady. He said, "Did you hear what she called her?" I said, "I wasn't talking about a person. I was talking about what I have in my yard." You know. Okay, here's some pretty stuff I bought yesterday at that place. Look how pretty. Hand me those and hand me that other blue thing, honey, if you don't mind. Not the pinks as much as the blues. Look at this blue. And these are dried. They'll last forever. And that other thing, I want to show them that. Now, I don't know what this is. It's something that I got at Home Depot. But I've used it in a design. I spray painted it blue. Look what a nice component that is for a creative design. I have a feeling it goes something to do with plumbing, but I don't have a clue. I'm afraid to ask. But isn't that pretty? Look at it. I don't know. Does anybody know? That's something I picked up at Publix, and I painted it blue, and I have used it, and I got a blue ribbon with it one time. If anybody knows what it is, tell me. Like I said, I think it has something to do with, I think it was in the plumbing section. But that's what I'm telling y'all, that there are so many. And by the way, before you leave today, I want you to come and look at the things I spread out back here. The green chartreuse one, I painted CDs so I could get some round forms. And then I put a swim noodle in the back because it has a beautiful chartreuse color and it has a yellow stripe. And then I used yellow flowers with it. And I did it at a convention in honor of our state president, whoever that was at the time, you know. And this is that little silver thing that's out of my baker broiler thing, whatever you call it. Now they've got air fryers and so many things. My ex-husband came home with an air fryer, and I said, I don't want to learn how to work something new. I can't even work what I got now. I gave it to my daughter-in-law. I think I hurt his feelings. I don't care. He's been so mean to me. Who cares? I think I put in my 40 years, y'all, and so now that's enough. You know, I'm just going to, do y'all know what monochromatic means? Everybody know? That's one color, that different shades, different hues. Penny Decker teaches the most wonderful programs on color. She is brilliant. There's so much to color that you don't, you know, the color palette and the colors that go together and all of that. She's really good at that. She has a son that has to come up to Mayo a lot, and so she comes up here a lot. We could probably get her sometime to come and teach on color if y'all wanted to, because she's really good. Like Janice Hamlin is wonderful teaching us about, what am I trying to say? Manipulating plant material. She can make all kinds of patterns and things. Yes. That is her expertise. She's great. She's good at a lot of things, but that's one of her. Okay, this is a Rufus palm. Okay, and down in here, I've got these needle points. See, I stuck them in here. This is all made out of wood. Somebody made it, and I bought it because my husband didn't make things for me. But a lot of people's husbands will make those kind of things. And so, you know.
So you obviously designed the base here. So, you know, where did you get this idea from? Like what part of Jan did this spring from?
You mean what I'm doing right now?
I mean, the actual base, the
oh,
hard
this?
piece, yeah.
There was a man at the convention one time, and he's gone now. I don't know what became of him. He was there several years, but he makes things that will clip together. In other words, there's a notch there, y'all. Anybody, any husband with a saw could do this, but he charged for it. But he made the little base, but then I can take these apart. I've got different ones of the squares and the notches, and I can make it different ways. And I just happened to find these blue things yesterday, and so I got this blue one out. And this blue one is just a box, kind of, and I've added that, see. I've got, it's heavy, so I'm not gonna move it. But anyway, I thought I would do this one in a monochromatic. So we're not mixing colors, we're just gonna do blues and see how y'all like it. So there might be in a show that they would have a monochromatic class. You know, the first time I entered a show was here, right over on that wall. I had no idea. They said, you put an accessory in there. It was something about New Year's Eve, and I put a champagne bottle in there. They said, it doesn't say you could have an accessory. I didn't even know what they were talking about. Accessories, a handbag. What are they talking about? And so I didn't know what I was doing, but I did not get a blue ribbon because I just didn't do it right, you know. But I made sure I got me, and people would say, well, that's not in the handbook. And I didn't like the way they'd be so prissy about it, you know. So I got my own handbook, and I learned to do it, y'all. And now I teach y'all how to do it. So I didn't like the way master judges would get to be so prissy sometimes. So if I ever get prissy, y'all tell me, don't get prissy. One of our ladies would say, she's a master judge. Because that's sort of high on the cotton, I don't know, or something, you know. But I've had so much fun. It has been so wonderful to be a judge. I have really loved it. Lauren's going to have a wonderful life of being a judge, I can tell you.
Jan.
Yes, honey.
I understand that the handbook is now online and can be downloaded for free.
You can download it for free?
Yes.
Honey, they've got, like, we're going to have in our Rangers Guild one called Tapestry. They've got so many neat kinds now. You're just thrilled about it. I know I'm taking too long, y'all, and I can't help it. That's just the way I roll. I'm almost done. Almost done. The what? Yes. For contrast, so I have silver and blue. And now if I had thought about it, I didn't bring them. I have silver sticks. Do I have my sticks? Oh, yeah. I was thinking about putting my sticks in the back for depth. Remember, depth is important. And I have judged some things where, honestly, they were flat like a pancake. But see, I can go back here, and that will give me some more depth and some more height and everything. Let me turn this around. I could help me, Denise, and hold that. So it's, yeah, if you don't mind. And I could do a little more at the top. I didn't kind of complete that. Are we not into the camera, sort of? Okay. Okay. Now, if I wanted to make that silver stand there, I just get some of my, those cable ties. You know, the cable ties. Except right now, I don't know what I did with them. Anyway, this is my last thing, but I don't know what they must be here somewhere. But they are. And by the way, you can paint these things, and they come out great. So when you need something to stand, hold it there and see if yeah. I didn't bring my biggest ones. This might not work. Are we close up to it as we can be? Okay. All right, let me try it down here. I'm telling y'all, if you do creative, you just have to play with it, okay? And you can always make it work. There will be a way to make it work. Do not lose your hope with that. That doesn't go around it, does it? Okay. But sometimes it fights with you. You can't help that. Most things do that are worth it, don't they? Not everything is simple. Okay, now if I'm really going to do that in a show, I'm going to make sure I paint everything silver or blue or whatever it is color. Okay, is that standing straight up? Okay, what does it look like? Okay, let me come around and see. I wish I could have Chardonnay. I'd go right over yonder and get me one. Oh, I like it. Now, I could use, I don't have any more of the hydrangea for the top, but I can come down and bring one more blue thing. Don't y'all think? What do y'all think? I think it needs one more blue thing. Of that top section. That's what I think. Because it looks a little skimpy, doesn't it? Okay. Well, I'm glad I got to go in that place yesterday. I might save these sticks and use them. They're pretty cool. I was afraid somebody would ask that. Roseberry tells me all the time I don't ever throw anything away. And people say, where do you put things? I go under the bed, every nook and cranny, the ceiling, the attic, in the sheds out in the yard. I mean, I just see if you can. Now, let me show you something. Wait. Hand me that cutter real quick. When you're doing a needle point, if it won't go in, you go right down here and you split it a little bit, okay? Now I've split it, and now she'll be able to get it in that needle point, hopefully. On the bottom, just sort of, that's great. That's great. I'm telling you, she's gonna, that's right. Okay, what do y'all think now? Okay. Now, I don't remember what I did when I used this, but whatever this is, if anybody ever finds out, call and tell me. But it doesn't come bent. I bent it. Does it? Okay. I like it. And I painted it, and it came to be this color. But there are tons of fun things in this world that you can do in a floral design. And I mean, I like both. Some people do creative and they don't do traditional, or vice versa. I like it all. I mean, I really do. So that's just me. And I love it all. I love plant material. I love the garden club and the fun I've had and the people I've met and the blue ribbons I've won. And I want y'all, before you leave, to come around and look on the table. I've been in a book. I've been in all kinds of magazines. And this was a very neat, it's this WAFA, the World Association of Flower Rangers. And they put out this big book, Flower Ranging the American Way. And that's our version of creative. And here I have a whole page. So, where is the camera? Does the camera see me? Hello, camera. Okay. And I didn't know what to call. Something about prom made me think. I must have had a pink dress. I don't know, a black pink. What was that song? A black sports coat and a pink carnation? Is that a pink carnation? And that song was in my mind, see? And so I made it that. And so then they called it the pink and black of pink mink tortillas reminded Jan Sillik of Jacksonville, Florida prom night. Dance steps begun in the rotation of the three-part container continuing in loops of black cable, actually ski rope. Now that's ski rope painted black. It starts out yellow. And it gave me that nice curly line, you know, and aspidistra leaves and lily grass. The number of dancers seems to dwindle as the evening comes to an end. So I'm thrilled. A lot of us did designs, and they had photographers, and they took them in Atlanta, and they took them in Florida, and then you didn't know if you were going to get in or not. And I did not only get in, Claudia Bates doesn't have a full page, and I have a full page. So I got a full page. But anyway, that was fun. And I'll show you where I'm on the cover of a magazine, and then I'll let y'all come look when you want to. I'm in a lot of calendars, and in the calendar. What did Marilyn Monroe said? I had the radio on. Isn't that what Marilyn Monroe said one time? I had the radio on. Camera. Okay, forget it. Okay. Okay, this is a SIFA magazine I was editor of for 12 years, 24 issues, and I got the cover of that. And believe me, people would fight and kill to get on the cover. And I didn't put myself there, somebody else did. That was after I wasn't doing it. And I was in a lot of our state calendars. I've been in about 12 of these. And my title on this was Singapore Sling. And I don't know, it's some kind of drink, I think. And so I made, I don't know, that was my interpretation of a Singapore Sling, whatever that is. But there's some more calendars and things back here that y'all can come look at. And thank you for inviting me. I hope I didn't go on so long. And thank you so, so much. So now you've got 1, 2, 3 things to raffle.
Thank you so much, Jan.
You
Can we
bet.
have one more big round of applause for Jan? That's wonderful. All right, I just have a couple of small messages for you before we end for the day. So let me just do this for everybody. So Jan, a wealth of knowledge. We're so lucky to have her, and I learn something every time I talk to this woman. So,
Denise, can I tell you one more thing? I'm so sorry. This is really it. This is really it. This one I was on the inside of the cover, and just let me read it real quickly because it's kind of emotional. Jan Sillik, Florida. Okay. A song sung by her grandfather, Silver Threads Among the Gold. Y'all ever heard that song? It's an old-timey song, and inspired this design, and it tells what's in there, and you'll see I've got silver and gold, and anyway, that's a pretty one, and it made me think of my grandfather, so I forgot that was laying over there, so y'all might want to see that too. All right, I'm really ending now, so I'm over. Thank you again. Bye.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, I just want to let you guys know about a couple of things coming up. Do not forget that Designer Distinction is coming up April 28th. Just about a month and a half or so, Eileen Thompson owns a business called Farm Gal Flowers in Orlando. She has a national reputation. She's all about farm-to-table flowers, locally grown flowers, which is a really cool idea. And there's a lot of really great ideas behind the work she's doing at Farm Gal Flowers. So she will be here April 28th. We have several Fun with Flowers coming up, including one on Thursday. Just a couple of tickets left for Gorgeous Greens on March 10th. And then the next Fun with Flowers we have one in May with Crystal Joy from a business called The Joy of Floral, Joyful Bouquets. And there's a morning and an evening time for those on May 12th. And then on July 14th, we have French Florals with Samantha Wilson of the St. John's Flower Market. So lots of great flower programs coming up. I hope that you will take part. And just another little plug for something coming up this week. On Saturday, we have our Budding Gardeners program, Herb Life. The Wildflower Circle is sponsoring this one. So thank you very much to the Wildflowers for making this happen. It is March 12th, and there are still tickets available for that. Once again, I want to ask everybody to please take our survey. If you're on Zoom, you can take it by scanning this. There'll also be a link on there, and we'll also send the link out to everyone attending today. And you can scan the QR code on the check-in table when you came in. I want to thank once again the J.C. Paul DuPont Fund for making hybrid programs like this possible, and to thank all of you for being here. And Jan, once again, let's give her another big round of applause. And now I think Connie is going to